And welcome back to another GAC podcast where we're going to be discussing games, anime, computers, and collectibles, but not necessarily all those in a week. I'm still your host, Harrison. To my right.
Johansson. Hello, James.
And to my left.
Oh my god, we're back here again.
Yeah.
I'm Faust.
So, what's wrong with being back here again?
I don't know. I thought we had escaped. And then I wake up and find myself in this room with you guys.
It's like Groundhog's Day, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yep. You are back here again.
Well,
yeah.
Speaking of things back here again, we're going to talk about Facebook.
Oh, Jesus.
So, Facebook is in the news.
Here's where you can minimize it and go play something else while this is running in the background.
That's the show, folks.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah, we're all done. That's it, folks. That's
it. We're done.
Thank you for joining us.
Right? What's going on with Facebook?
So Facebook was in the news this week because they've announced that they are tripling the size of their Los Lunas data center project.
Oh, nice.
So it's going to be a total of 6 buildings and investing more than $1 billion in the project. Now, this triple is kind of a misnomer, you know, depending on how you look at it, because the initial deal was they're going to build one data center for $250 million with options to expand. And then they announced, okay, we're going to put up another building. So they doubled it at that point. So basically 2 buildings and almost 1 million square feet. Now they've said they're going up to 6 buildings. So they're going up. They basically sextupled since the initial thing. And
This is sounding like a give a mouse a cookie scenario.
Has any buildings been built yet?
2 are already in the process of being built. This is going to go all the way through 2023 for all this. Because, I mean, we're talking about you're building 6 data center buildings. You're talking about building a solar farm to power these buildings. And that's a lot to be going on there. So anybody who's not followed this, why New Mexico won over Utah for their 7th data center was state officials gave the company $30 billion in industrial revenue bonds that provide a 30-year tax break, $10 million in local Economic Development Act funding, access to $3 million job incentive trading money, and up to $1.6 million in gross receipts tax reimbursement annually.
Yep, this is the give a mouse a cookie scenario. We just basically gave them so much incentives that there are already studies out there saying that these big data centers the companies open up actually do not benefit the local economy at all.
But there's a lot that say that they do too. You know, there's studies on both ways, and something you have to look at. So earlier this month, Los Lunas officials reported that the gross receipts tax revenue has increased to $2 million for the first quarter of the fiscal year because of all the construction and everything. So sure, right now we are actually seeing a net plus in gross receipts revenue first quarter of all the construction involved around it, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a big construction project like that going on, even in the remote like the remote area surrounding Albuquerque, benefits Albuquerque. I mean, we're kind of the nexus for a lot of different logistics that roll through here. So even if it is happening out in Los Lunas, it's still got to go through here.
Yeah,
in some capacity.
And some of the other things that they've already done is there's Facebook Boost for small businesses, and they've stated 32 cities that they're going to be working with for small business economic development. And Albuquerque was on that list, obviously, because we got a data center there, but they are already going to be helping to help small businesses like boost their business with Facebook or digital media or anything online. Granted, it helps Facebook, but at the same time, that means it should help generate revenue too for New Mexico. The question is will we be able to capitalize on it properly?
I mean, it really depends on how quickly you get in on the ground floor with that. and whether or not it's the business itself stands to benefit Facebook or it becomes a direct competition in some fashion, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing, my eyes go cross-eyed when we start talking about all of these different incentives and all the political bureaucracy, red tape that surrounds, like, you know, Facebook wanting to come in and do a big name project like that. Mm-hmm. Overall, any industry coming in and making a big push like that is good for us, but that could have just been, you know, the solar farm, and I'd have been fine with it.
Oh yeah,
the Facebook moving in, I'm like, I mean,
Still
don't necessarily like Facebook, don't really care. So jobs. I guess they need jobs down in Los Lunas. I'm not about to start commuting on the Rail Runner.
Well, it's still not that far. It's like a 45-minute drive. So I
have trouble commuting 15 minutes. Like.
I've noticed that for about 3 weeks in a row.
Right? Oh yeah, put it all on me. Like I said, I thought we had escaped. For some reason, you guys pulled me right back in. Sure, it's all my fault.
Yeah.
Well, with this, the Facebook is aiming to help small businesses improve their digital skills, and that's the big thing there. The new program called Facebook Community Boost to help small businesses in the U.S. grow for the digital skills they need. Facebook has invested more than $1 billion to helping small businesses, and this is the next step. So Albuquerque is one of those 30 cities. There's also St. Louis, Missouri, Des Moines, Iowa, Houston, Texas, Greensville, South Carolina, and some others. So this Community Boost thing will hopefully help us. And if anything, from a as much people are like, incentives, I think this one is one of the few that New Mexico's not screwing up on. As much as I kind of have a slight disdain for Facebook,
Oh yeah,
because it's social media,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird emergent thing that got developed. If you really look at the generalization, I know this isn't 100% factually accurate, but I mean, Zuckerberg came up with Facebook as sort of a way of getting personal information from college students, and initially it was just a whole college thing, and he wasn't doing it with any noble cause. He didn't have any, so it was just a way of having some sort of like MySpace-ish sort of thing, and people just started handing him their personal information to become a part of the site, and it just blew up from there. They have willfully admitted to social engineering and psychological testing without the consent of the signups. They regularly option creative content that is made and posted on Facebook as their own. When you put something on Facebook, it is no longer solely your content because Facebook is hosting it.
Yep.
They can take that and use it for whatever they want it to do. There is already one of the co-founders who is no longer with Facebook has released statements saying that Facebook itself is evil, that they made a mistake in allowing it to become what it has become, and that it's creating some sort of like negative effect on current and future generations because of the whole feedback loop of putting something out there and having it noticed and liked, and so therefore you just keep on generating that content, and it's not necessarily a matter of genuine feelings, it's just getting that reward of being validated or having that response.
And the whole false narratives, false positivity, false narratives. You look at everybody else's life online, they've shown this, you're looking at this false mirror of what their life actually is because you only see the good stuff typically.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff with social media that we've not fully understood the repercussions from, and it's creating this new generation. Probably some people want to say from 2008, sometimes a little bit sooner, where you're always connected. Basically, the iPhone generation, and Facebook's part of that. Facebook's part of that. Twitter's part of that.
But
so
even
you're constantly bombarded.
Even further beyond that, when you look at it in a generational sense, we have this amount of malleability in the memory of a society that the things that we do don't necessarily, like, they will come back to haunt us if for some reason the proof is presented or something like that. That's how things used to be. Now every dumb thing that you do gets posted on the internet.
Yep.
And if it's something that you willfully post up there, you have to deal with the fact that it's going to be there 20, 30, 40 years down the line that, you can't necessarily, unless you make an effort to go back and remove that. And even then, that's not a guarantee. We have many, many, many people who's just taken it upon themselves to archive the statements of certain individuals so that when they can say, I never said that, somebody will pop up out of the woodwork and go, actually,
you did say that.
You say, here's a time and here's a time-stamped record of you making that statement specifically.
Yep.
I mean, I'm glad that I come from a generation where all of the dumb crap that I did as a kid isn't posted out there for all people to see, for people to look up and find. I mean, that there used to be a routine thing when you get involved in romance with a significant other, that your baby photos are something the parents like to show off as a way of embarrassing you or something along those lines. I never understood
now we have an entire generation that has their baby photos online. Just out there.
Yeah. And the ever tired thing of, oh, hey, I found a picture of your grandma used to be this framed black and white photo, very faded, very, very austere. And now it's, hey, I found a photo of your grandma, and it's some,
at a club, half drunk out of your mind with your top off,
Yeah. That's grandma. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Facebook doesn't necessarily, I mean, it enters into this in that it provides the platform for those kinds of things. I don't know if they really promote this kind of thing, but you have to understand that Facebook is free.
Yep.
If it's free and it's online, then you're the product. And that's exactly what Facebook does.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're coming in and they're making a big building out here because they need that kind of presence out here.
Yep.
Means jobs for us, means we get some of that sweet Facebook money. But
Facebook money.
Just as many studies as there are that prove that Facebook will be a benefit to the local area, there are just as many studies saying Facebook won't be.
Right.
That they come in and they make egregious demand upon egregious demand until we are no longer profiting.
Yeah, and I mean the same's been said about Amazon, Walmart, anything else. Mm-hmm. I am optimistic that Facebook is going to buck the norm, at least with this state, because it's not like it's coming into like a big city that doesn't have room to grow. So you're going to end up inflating large amounts of housing and everything else around it. Being here in Los Lunas, there is room to grow. Sure, we're going to see probably a uptick in some housing cost, mm-hmm. but nothing compared to what they're seeing out of like San Francisco, where a rundown shanty is going for almost $1 million. That is like 500 square feet. So, that's what they have to do, is they have to find places like New Mexico going forward, so that way they don't have this horrible economic impact by sitting in a big city like Seattle or San Francisco. Mm-hmm. So this could turn around for the better. And finally, it's going to probably put some of the tech stuff on there, because it's like New Mexico was also ranked number 2 for digitally connected city, mm-hmm. for the government and being able to pay bills online and everything else like this. I mean, you hear all these bad things about Albuquerque or jokes about Albuquerque,
Yeah, you do.
But a lot of people forget about the importance of the technology behind Albuquerque. I mean, Albuquerque was one of the first areas on the internet because of DARPANET back in the day. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's like you see it go if you look at the original maps of DARPANET, you see it go all up to California, Washington coast. It goes over to I think it goes to like Colorado and Chicago. But it's funny because it goes from like Southern California, skips by a bunch of states, stops in New Mexico. I think before it takes a leg over to Texas.
It can be argued that New Mexico is the birthplace of computers.
Yeah.
It is the birthplace of the operating system. It is, where big companies would at least have some sort of presence in order to say that they were plugged into the progress of technology in itself. We have, I'm not sure if we do, we had at one point, I'm not sure if we still do, an active Intel plant.
We kind of do. They were sort of wishy-washy on that kind of thing. And so we've always kind of maintained at least some sort of hold on technology in general. So Facebook coming in here with a realization that I just had that makes me kind of like
push all my reluctance aside and be like, I'm willing to put up with a lot. I'm willing to sign a lot of contracts in my own blood, because if we have a big data center and a big pipeline coming into Los Lunas, that means fiber is coming.
Well, we've already had fiber, and that's the insane thing.
No, we've had fiber in that we have a trunk at some obscure location that isn't getting pushed out to the general consumer.
Oh,
it's being strangleheld by local internet or whatever other company has decided to line the right pockets. I'm talking like general consumer level availability of fiber speeds.
Which I will argue again that we've already had. The problem is that the general consensus of the masses in this area is, we have real no interest in this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the thing, is that's the problem with New Mexico sometimes, is it's all like 30 years behind the technology curve.
Yeah, we do kind of have that sort of mentality. I know that it's a major thing for people outside of New Mexico when they come and they try to live here. That's the first major frustration, is that it takes forever to get everything done.
Yeah.
Because we do not hurry up for anybody.
The land of mañana. But with all this, yes, we have a major Crossroads OC 192 trunk. I mean, we are one of the primary areas to get connected. There is fiber optics for the business downtown. There is not ran by a big company. It's an independent company. The big carriers do have fiber, but it's not being pushed because there's not the thirst
demand for it.
Yeah, in the market. We are putting in fiber optic along with the ART project. Okay, as much as the ART project has got a crap ton of negativity, there is a municipal fiber project being built into that. Okay,
look, just to make a definitive statement on this, ART as a project, I think that corridor needed some attention as far as the mass transit was concerned. That they needed to do something to actually have a verifiably reliable mass transit structure there. It was close. I'm not sure how it is now with all the construction going on and everything. I think that they've kind of muddied the waters. What my problem is with ART is that the way that it happened, the way that it got approved and pushed forward.
The fact that a lot of people said no, and they still pushed it through.
It's killing businesses all along that corridor, which pushes them out so that bigger businesses can come in and they can gentrify the area. So it's underhanded and sleazy the way that they did it, and just sort of pushed it through without anybody having a say, really. And that's my major problem with it. ART as a project, that would have been fine if they had managed to go through the proper channels and let people have a say. Something like it could have been approved. And I don't think that that's what people are really hanging up about. What they're hanging up about is the administration in this city decided to just shove it down our throats and continue ahead as if nothing had happened, even though we had tried to put the brakes on and be like, why don't you let us decide whether or not that's necessary?
Yeah.
And so that's the major problem there.
This is true, yeah.
Yeah. Is that for some reason, especially the higher ups in the legal system around here, and this goes back to the Facebook thing, is that a lot of stuff gets done without the approval of the public. And, if Facebook comes in and starts making demands, what's to say that they're going to go ahead with, because, oh, mighty Facebook, please don't take the money away.
Well, look at HP. I mean, HP came in and they were promised all this stuff, and they promised that they were going to expand.
That's true, and they did not make that hold to that promise.
Yeah.
So they lost that center. Well, I mean, they didn't technically lose it. They're still there.
They had to pay back some incentives because they did not hit their marks.
Mm-hmm.
That was and that's the big backlash, is a lot of things get rammed into this area, and people don't, and then the companies don't follow through, and there's not exactly always the interest behind them, and so we've handed out all these boondoggle incentives, and so the government is what gives a negative perception of a lot of this, because for some reason the local state government or even the local city governments don't know how to handle some of these big projects in the perceived eyes of the people. That's kind of a problem. Like I said, I have hopes for Facebook. It looks like they're going to be doing a lot more than what they said they were going to do.
Yep.
So time will tell. But
it remains to be seen. We'll have to come back to this.
Yeah, we got like 6 years to follow this.
Yeah. the names came through. There's two of them. First one has been dubbed Gritsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Anti-Slip Machiney.
Nice.
And the other one has been named David Plowie.